Hello. Today we're going to be looking at critical practice. We want to support you with identifying a critical friend or peer group that can sustainably help you with your dissertation process. Now, this way of working may not suit everybody. Some people like working on their own, they're very comfortable doing so. Please don't worry, you don't have to do this. Other people feel happier working in pairs, people feel happier working in groups. The actual lecture here does talk about critical practice generally, and this is because this idea of criticality, of questioning, is crucial to help you present sort of breadth and depth of ideas within the dissertation. So even if you're thinking at this point, well, I don't want a critical friend and I don't like working in a group, please bear with me, because hopefully the lecture will also hold interesting material and you can apply some of the techniques in it to your own work anyway. So I want to define critical practice. I want to look at critical questioning and some models of criticality that you might be able to use to support that depth of argument. I want to then talk about peer support, ideas of the critical friend, and then I really want to see if we can look at ways we could set up some groups. So we'll start off by looking at what critical practice is. Now, if we look at the Oxford English Dictionary, it tells us it's involving the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. So then that's very like the dissertation. This is almost exactly mirroring the information that we've given you for our research, how to research at level 6, and also information about putting together a critical argument, analysing, evaluating evidence, analysing, evaluating an issue. So your critical practice is crucial. It helps to look at critical as critique. So you're assessing those ideas, you're appraising the information that you found, you're reviewing it, you're studying it, discourse, you're talking about it and discussing it, and you're writing an account of this. How might this relate to your practice? Well, not simply talking about the dissertation here. Critical practice is not just involved with the making process, but it shows an awareness of external frameworks. And when we talked about how you could contextualise the ideas you've come to from your dissertation in your conclusion, well, critical practice is part of showing an awareness of context, but also of the ideological frameworks within which visual work can be evaluated. It contextualises work within theoretical perspectives. So that key reading you did at level 5, those theoretical perspectives, those ideas, if you look at some work or you look at your topic through those ideas, you're being critical. Now, critical practice in contemporary visual culture is synonymous. It is all to do with ideas of meaning and value and how they might relate to the art object and the audience and the context, which is why they're our core curriculum at level 5. Now, how can I support my critical practice? Well, in the dissertation you can use the model of learning Bloom's taxonomy, and you can use this to see whether you're simply repeating research knowledge. Do you actually show an understanding of that, and are you evidencing that through your application of those ideas to a particular topic? Now, a tool to support you with this is critical questioning. Being critical is all about questioning, analysing, considering evidence. Now, this can be used as part of your own reflective process, so as an independent process. It can be facilitated, though, through working with peers who actually criticise you, who actually are critical about your work, but not in a negative way. They critique your work. Or with a critical friend who might ask you questions about your dissertation topic, about why you've stated something, about what that evidence meant, or whether you can interpret that evidence in a slightly different way. A critical friend can be really, really useful. And to be a good critical friend is all about asking relevant questions. So we've got some kind of models. This one is based on Bloom's taxonomy to support you with questions that might help you be a critical friend or question your own dissertation ideas. So when you're using facts, you're applying your facts. Well, how is something related to something else? Why is that significant? It's a great question to ask. If you think you're going off on a tangent, ask yourself, why is that significant? If you're working as a pair with a critical friend, then please do that. Please start to question, why is it significant? What is the most important? What ideas can you add to? How would you design anew? What solutions would you suggest for? So you can get this and download this from StudentNet, and I personally feel this is quite a useful kind of set of questions. There's the critical thinking wheel as well. Now this is far more complex. It's an interactive map available on the web and developed by the Foundation for Critical Thinking. And again, you can use the hyperlinks from the presentation that's also available to accompany this video on StudentNet. So this looks at gives us clarity, understandable, the meaning can be grasped. Could you elaborate further? Can you give me an example? Could you illustrate what you mean? If you're working as a critical friend, these are great questions to ask somebody who's just given you their dissertation. Or you can ask those questions as part of your own reflective practice. And a very, very simple model that you probably come across in my classes last year, which starts with asking what, when, who and where. These are your facts, your description, analyses them why and how, what if, so what next. I still like this, but I think to use it you have to really know what you're doing at level 6. You need to ask very pertinent questions using just this sort of general question stems. So a mixture of the three might be useful. And don't forget, you can make your own model. These are only suggestions. Everybody has their own way of working. You may do this kind of critical questioning as part of your everyday life anyway. Critical discussion. Now this is more than one person talking about an issue. This is dealing with ideas of peer support. Plymouth University states that thinking critically means asking questions. Instead of accepting at face value what you read or hear, critical thinkers look for evidence and for good reasons before believing something to be true. This is at the heart of what it means to be a scientist, researcher, scholar or professional in any field. If we were doing this as a live session, I'd be saying, how far do you agree? Personally, I agree with this. Discussion supports synthesis, like coming up with new ideas, and it can support your analysis of your own situation. Identifying a critical friend will help you when undertaking any kind of higher level study. The friend can help you reason arguments, and discussion will help you analyse your own situation and perspective effectively. There's nothing better than sitting around with a group of friends and everybody has their own different critical perspectives on perhaps a given topic or issue, because you'll learn. You may not agree with them wholeheartedly, but you will understand how things are always more complex, more multifaceted than they first appear. If you want to set up a group, I will do all I can to help you do this, but there are some ground rules you might need to cover. You first need to, rather obviously, decide who you want to work with. Now please, at the moment, do not worry about kind of time constraints or geography, because there might be ways around that. I will also say that an ideal group contains people with a good mix of abilities, so you can mutually support each other. So you've got a note taker, a proofreader, a planner, a researcher, an idea generator, or a peacemaker even. If you're a group who's quite vocal, that can be really useful. One model is action learning sets, and right at the start of this very short course you looked at identifying wicked problems. Now this is to take perhaps forward, if you like this, to take you forward to an action learning set. Because if you've identified your wicked problem, either the group can decide on one shared problem to work with, or you take it in turns to discuss and support individual problems. So the use of questioning in sets will support critical practice. So somebody has a problem, and really what happens then is somebody else, all round the sort of table, you question somebody about that problem, and it prompts reflection. There are also dissertation work groups. This again is a hyperlink in the presentation. Stern and Feldman give specific advice as to how to set up a dissertation work group and suggest how you can peer pair. And this is some rules and regulations. It's slightly less formal than action learning sets, but just a different model. So go online, have a look at this, a peer support or dissertation work group, if you think that would support you. You could have very informal discussion groups. So you could meet over coffee every Tuesday, or maybe not every Tuesday. The important thing is you're talking about your dissertation. Online meetings, this is why I say about geography, I can support with that. If you want to use video conferencing or chat rooms, I can set you up a chat room, I can set you up a forum, we can trial some video conferencing resources. So come and find me if you're interested in doing that. I'm very keen to support this because I think it really helps. I can find space to meet, so I can try and book some small seminar rooms, try and find ways to discuss online, or just give you some advice about perhaps how you could run your group. So email me, or better still, come and find me in C3 during my office hours, which are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. Thank you for listening.